Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. One of the fun parts of growing houseplants is that you'll end up with a lot of cuttings. And you can use them for many things. This couple, for instance, is using them to get some shade while they're having dinner. But when you have many cuttings from one single plant, you can actually afford to conduct some experiments, like I did in a previous video with some cuttings of my Epipremnum pinnatum variegata albo, where I put the cuttings in a different substrate to see which one works best. And today we will have a look at the results, so let's get started right away. Now, if you watched the previous video, you might remember that I took quite a few wet stick cuttings with just 1 or 2 nodes. And as an experiment, I put some of these cuttings in 5 different substrates. First of all, soil, then perlite, then on the right, pon, also vermiculite, and finally water. And here we can see the results. First of all, we have one obvious loser, since the wet stick that I put in soil decided to die in a matter of days. But, as you can see on the left, the other 4 substrates turned out to be a success. So let's have a closer look now at each of the 4 successful substrates, starting with perlite. The first thing to notice is that the perlite that started off bright white has turned into a more green-grayish color, but the cutting doesn't seem to mind at all. It has produced 1 leaf and it's working on a second one. And by the way, I just love how the creamy white and green stem of this cutting is clearly telling us there will be variegation. So perlite is definitely a winner. Next up is pon. Probably one of my favorite substrates, and it's clearly also a winner. And even a bigger winner than perlite, I might say, because this cutting produced 4 leaves already, whereas the one in perlite had just the 1 leaf. And you can clearly see how this tiny plant is already showing off its variegation with different patterns on each of its leaves. So as a conclusion, we can definitely affirm that pon as a substrate is a clear winner here. The next substrate is vermiculite. And first of all, I have to mention that after the first video, I decided to add some extra cuttings here. I think 6 in total. And guess what? The cuttings just love this substrate. All the cuttings took off, they produced leaves to make this mini forest of variegation. So vermiculite is also a winner. Okay, and finally let's have a closer look at the cutting that I put in water. And yes, water also worked just fine, and we got 2 beautiful leaves already. Now the advantage of water is that you can clearly see the roots developing in the water. So water is definitely also a winner, but beware of algae. Now you might be wondering how the mother plant is doing, and here it is, and it is doing just fine. And you might remember that the mother plant also already produced 2 new baby plants in its own pot. So all in all, I got a total of 11 baby plants from this one Epipremnum pinnatum variegata albo mother plant. And the best substrates turned out to be pon and also vermiculite. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and have a very nice day. Goodbye.